Hi everyone, my name is Anastasia. I'm going to tell you the story of how I bought my gorgeous hair for $1 million. Listen, watch, enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, share videos, and leave comments. I've always had unusual hair. The thing about it is that it's colorful all by itself. Yep, there are some people who dye their hair to make it rainbow colored, but I had it all by myself. I was born this way. That's my thing, my mom would say. You don't have to dye it. One strand of my hair was blue, the other black, pink, green, white. They had the impression that I was spray painting it. And then, to make it more dramatic, I grew it out. It looked unparalleled. Many girls were jealous of me. Their mothers did not allow them to spoil their hair with dye, and I had that hair naturally. Then one day, my friend Phoebe offered to sell it to her. What do you want it for? I'll wear it as a wig. It's long anyway. If you cut it off, it'll grow back, and you'll get money for it as well. But I like the length and the way it looks. I like it too. I'll give you $30. 30's not enough. Make it 50. It's also not enough. I don't have any more. That's all my piggy bank money. Don't be selfish. What's your problem? Buy a wig and repaint it. A wig will wash out. You have to wash a wig, but yours won't. I'll think about it. More and more girls then came up to me with a similar proposal. Everyone just wanted to buy my hair from me, ready groomed hair. I told my mom about it, to which she replied that the decision was mine, since my hair belongs to me. Well, if you need money and you want to make money off of it, you can put it up for auction. How's that? Get all the people together who want to buy your hair, and the highest bidder will be the winner. That's an idea. So that's what I did. My mother and sister helped me to set up an auction at home, in the yard. We prepared chairs and a stand, and even found a microphone. I didn't think so many people would come to my auction. The surprising thing is that there were not only girls, but also women. Everyone wanted to touch my hair, smell it, look at it. The first customer was Phoebe. She offered $60. Then another classmate offered $70, then $80, $200, and so the amount went up to $300. It was unbelievable. The winner was one of my mom's coworkers. She wanted to make a birthday present for her daughter. I had my hair cut off in front of everyone. It was exactly 1 meter. I was left with shoulder-length hair. In principle, it looked good too. And then I started growing it out again. I bought myself expensive shampoos, balms, and masks to make it grow faster and healthier. And surprisingly, after 6 months, it was long enough for me to sell again at an auction. Mom's colleagues' reviews caught my attention, and interested people began to write each time, asking if I would sell it again. That's how my business plan came about. I would grow my hair and then sell it at an auction. Then my popularity grew. Word got out to the press. My hair was in high demand, and I was mega happy. 4 years later, at another auction, other people came. Richer, more respectable people. Even the event itself, we did it away from home. My mother especially booked a restaurant. Everything was very pompous and beautiful. I planned to sell my hair for as much as possible, for $1 million. On that day, I was terribly nervous. It was exciting to think about such a sum of money. I admit that I had already made good money from my hair, but it wasn't $1 million yet. The threshold amount was $800,000. People kept coming up to me, asking me how I was feeling, and I suddenly noticed that a few hairs had fallen off my head. I was so shocked. You wouldn't believe it, but I'd never had hair fall off my head in my life. Not one strand. I looked to the floor, and I was so shocked. Wow, are you sick? You've never had hair fall out. I don't know what this is. Phoebe, please pretend you didn't see it. It's probably just nerves. Who wants to buy hair from a sick person for that kind of crazy money? You can't cheat people. I'm not conning anyone. It didn't happen. How could I have seen it coming? Then just lower the price. I can't. What's the problem? You'll grow new hair, get some more treatment, and you'll be fine. No, I can't do that. Just be quiet, please. My mom had already called me to the stage, and I went out smiling. Everyone applauded my hair. I waved my hand to show how shiny it was, and a whole strand fell to the floor. There was an in the crowd. My hands shook, and my mom's eyes widened. She tried to smooth out the situation, like everything is fine, it happens. But then some woman got up and started saying that the hair should have been in perfect condition, healthy. You yourself declared officially that your daughter's hair didn't fall out at all, that it was healthy. She's had some hair fall just now for the first time. It looks like it's just nerves. Don't worry, daughter, it's only natural. That's not true. Her hair was falling out 10 minutes before this, too. I saw it. How could you? I asked you to keep it a secret. So you decided to cheat, did you? We can sue you for that. There was a loud commotion in the hall. I cried, and my mom took me home. The guests were told that this is only temporary, and they could make an official statement later. I was so upset and depressed that I couldn't pull myself together. My mom suggested I go to a specialist to have my hair checked out. Their report was horrible. They said I was experiencing hair loss. And what can be done? We can only advise one thing. To wake up your bulbs, you need to transplant your first hair. What first hair? The first clump of hair you sold. And where do I find that? Well, that's your challenge. We think this will help save your hair from falling out. Otherwise, you're 2 weeks away from total baldness. Are you saying my daughter will lose her hair altogether? Yes. But how so? I've been taking such good care of it. It doesn't matter. It's just that your body has started rejecting it. There could be a bunch of factors here, but let's try. I went out with my mom, and she went to a neighbor's house to get a wig. I remember she bought it from us for $300. But now, after hearing about our situation from the press, she decided to name a very different amount. $1 million? Are you crazy? Sorry, different prices today because it's been years since then. You told me your price then, and I'm telling you mine now. That's not fair. Life isn't fair at all. I didn't expect this from you. We left, but my hair fell out more and more. I didn't want to go bald, but I was losing strands every day, and it was frustrating. I was really depressed. There was no way out. My mom decided to raise money. We started a page on the network as a fund to save my unique hair, told it like it was. Most people just laughed, not taking it seriously. Someone began to call us greedy, saying there are more important and global problems. But my personal feelings were understood by my family. They threw everything they had into raising money for my sake. By the end of the next month, I was already wearing a cap because there was almost no hair left on my head. Some of the money was raised, but the amount was still huge. I began to feel bad for my family because they had spent so much effort and energy looking for funds, had gone into debt, and had taken out a loan. I couldn't stand it and went up to my mom. Mom, let's not. Let's not what? Don't spend the money. Better spend the collected amount on debts and credits. It's not worth it. I'll survive. There are a lot of people who wear wigs. Who knows? Maybe my bulbs will wake up and my hair will grow back one day. But you wanted it so bad. You told me it was important to you. Yeah, but it's not worth it. I'll get over it. We cried, but we both knew this was better. It was the more rational thing to do. After a couple more days, my last hair fell out. In principle, I was already used to myself like this. I even came up with the idea of getting a tattoo on my skull to make it look cool. And then all of a sudden, a man we didn't know came to our house. He called himself a businessman and said he would give me the money. All he demanded in return was that we didn't give his name. That was the most amazing news. We got the money, we bought my first hair, and I got a transplant. Within a month, my hair started to grow back. I was very happy, thinking about that man every day. And then I happened to see him on the street. I wanted to run up to him, and then I saw Fib next to him. As it turned out, he was her father. After the transplant, I had some tests done, and it turned out that I didn't have natural hair loss at all. It was all due to a poison in my shampoo. Memory stabbed through my head like a knife. I remembered that Phoebe had given me shampoo the day after I refused to sell her my hair. And then the puzzle came together. I went to her house and I threw the empty bottle at her. Her father came out the back. They realized I'd found out. I could have reported her to the police, but I didn't, thanks only to her father's generosity. We got the hell out of that town then, and now I'm growing my gorgeous hair back. Hello, everyone. My name is Brianna. What? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I heard what you were thinking. Yes, I can hear thoughts. Can you imagine? This is an incredible thing, and it happened to me very unexpectedly. As it turned out, in theory, instead of dying, I got this kind of gift. Well, I'll tell you all about it. In the meantime, guys, like the video, immediately subscribe to the channel, and write your opinion under the video. I will be interested in reading them. Let's get started. This happened last year, when I was returning home with my little brother Tommy after a walk in the park. I promised him I'd give him a ride on the roller coaster just so he wouldn't shoot me at my parents. Small witnessed how a guy came to me late one night and I pretended to go to bed and I walked with him. So he gave me a condition. Either I take him to the park or he tells my parents everything. Well, in general, I began to save money for his slides. Although, to be honest, we had a fun day. I probably haven't been alone with him for a long time. He usually pisses me off with what he puts up with, but that day was different, and Tommy and I talked a lot. I didn't think we'd have anything to talk about before, but it turned out that there was plenty. I even got to know my brother better. After the walk, tired and satisfied, we decided to go eat. Tommy was hungry, and we ate burgers on the way. When we were 3 houses away from the house, a dog we didn't know came running out from behind the bushes. It was huge. I shielded my brother, who immediately threw our food to the dog. The dog attacked the burgers, and while she was eating them, we quickly stepped forward. A moment later, I heard the dog running toward us, foaming at the mouth. She wanted to bite Tommy, but I blocked him. Suddenly, I felt a sharp pain in my leg. The dog bit into my leg right on the hip. I screamed so loud that all the neighbors and even my mother ran out. Seeing the picture threw everyone into shock. My mother immediately rushed to us. She threw a slipper at the dog, but she did not let go. I was screaming in pain, and my brother was shaking all over, but I kept protecting him. Suddenly, a neighbor ran out with a shovel and hit the dog, so he ran away somewhere. Whose dog it was, we still don't know. I was bleeding. The dog had bitten through an important artery, and I was losing blood fast. It's good that the neighbors called an ambulance, which quickly took me away. An urgent transfusion was required. I passed out, and when I came to, it turned out that I had a transfusion. Only one nurse came to see me often. At first, I didn't understand why she was so nervous at the sight of me, and then I accidentally heard that she had transfused me with the wrong blood type. Against the background of unfamiliar antigens, I became ill the very next day. I had a fever and couldn't get up. It was so bad. I couldn't even tell my mom because I couldn't open my mouth. I cursed the nurse in my head. She, by the way, ran away from work, somewhere unknown, just like that dog. Surprisingly, on the 3rd day, I became much better. I even remember how a boy flew into my room. He brought me my favorite French fries and iced tea. I knew how much he also adored potatoes, and the fact that he brought them safely only for me, I was very pleased. Tommy was sorry it had happened, but I wasn't. How could I have done anything else? He's my little brother. Tommy leaned into me and rested his head on my stomach. A few minutes later, I heard his faint sobs. "I could have lost you. You almost died because of me," he said. "Don't ever say that again, Tommy. I wouldn't die for you," I told him, and he slowly raised his head and stared at me with round eyes. "I didn't say anything," he said to me timidly. "I was just thinking about it." At that moment, a slight chill passed over my skin, and I suddenly began to panic a little, just like Tommy himself. He looked at me as if I were an alien, and I put it all down to an accident, saying that I just blurted it out at random. He pretended to calm down, but the feeling of unease remained. When Tommy went home, I was still thinking about this situation. Confident that I wasn't crazy because I could clearly hear these sentences in his voice, I decided to test the theory and went down to the cafeteria. There were a lot of people there, and everyone was busy either eating or thinking, just what I needed. I helped myself to tea and lunch and sat down at the furthest table. I looked at the people around me, but I didn't understand or hear anything. At some point, I even thought that I really just imagined it. I finished my meal and went back to the room. Just then, my doctor came. He told me that my condition had improved dramatically, and this is extremely rare. We chatted, and the doctor started to leave. Finally, he suddenly said that I was very beautiful. I was embarrassed. Doc himself was a young guy, and he was very good looking. At that moment, I was sure he hadn't said it out loud. I suddenly wanted to ask again, but I didn't. I decided to give myself time to sort myself out a bit. As a result, I arrived home a few days later. My life was back on track, but my abilities were also back on track. A couple of days after I was discharged, I heard my mother talking to someone on the phone. She was swearing loudly, but then I walked past her and saw her sitting at the table with her head down. My mother's hands fiddled with a glass of water, and I said clearly, "I'm not going to let this stuff ruin our business. I'll do my best. So first of all, I will tell Frank. This is my father." Then she grabbed the phone and dialed Dad. I could see that my mother's lips didn't move, but I could hear her words. Yes, it was still creepy and scary, but I did not react as much as before. Then I started listening to my brother, my father, and my mother again. I did not always succeed, but I kind of trained myself, and over time, I learned to hear not only relatives, but even neighbors. I guess you could call my gift psychic or something. Do not consider it stupid or fictional, because everything can happen in this world. I do not know how much longer I will have this gift, but while I have it, I am considering how to use it correctly and best.